Hello, welcome to this tutorial on creating workflow notifications in Nexus 360. This particular feature is currently only configured by system administrators. So initially I'm going to show you the difference between the group permissions on a system administrator, which is typically Compumedics, and also the manager level group permissions, which is typically your lab manager. So if I initially log in as administrator to this particular site, and we'll see a notification that's implemented on this site, and there is a separate tutorial on how to set these up. If I now go into the Manage menu, you can see down here, particularly when we're having a look at System Tasks and also the Advanced menu, that there's a lot of items that are currently available to me there as the System Administrator. And a lot of these are support-based items as well. If we go in and have a look at the system groups, and we look at the Lab Manager group, and click on the pencil icon, and we'll find the permissions for that particular group. By default, most of these will be selected, except for the support and system access settings below. So these are settings that are really privy to Compumedics staff and system administrators. Okay, so not your typical lab manager. So here, by default for a manager group, they are not selected, but they need to be in order to use a workflow notifications. So that means that if you currently want to set up some workflow notifications, you'll do that in conjunction with Compumedics, so we ensure that we assist you through the process and there's no mistakes that creep in where you set up email rules, for example, and end up spamming your own email server. So if we then go in and have a look, I'll log off, and just to demonstrate this, I'll log back on as a manager, and you'll be able to see the difference. Okay, so when I log on as a manager here and go to the Manage menu, you'll see that going down to System Tasks and also to the Advanced section, there's a lot less features available there. Having said that, to now show you how the workflow notifications work, I'll log back in as a system administrator. And I'll go down into System Tasks, and we'll see these study workflow settings. Now here you can see that what I've done is already add a task using this button on the right hand side, the Add Task button. And if we go into look at how this has been set up and what will this workflow rule actually do. So this I've set up as a study being scored. It will notify a particular user, that user being Peter Parsway, and it will tell that user when the study's been scored, and it will do so by adding a task on the to-do list for that particular user. There are different functions that can be applied here in terms of email notifications or automatic deletion of studies when they're archived. But here what we're looking for is we've set up a rule where when that study is scored and the study exists on the Compumedics site, the study status is scored and the service type is sleep service, it will then send a to-do item to a specific user, Peter Parsway, saying that it's scored and ready to be reported, and it will put this as a high priority. You could also do this by groups, so we could allocate or notify particular groups, and we can also put delays in there if we want until the actual item should be due. So this particular rule, if I now go out of here, and then even though I'm logged in as system administrator, I'll just go into one of the studies that I've got here. And these are a bunch of demo studies that I have on this particular server. And I need sleep service to be the service type. I'm also filtering here by Compumedics in terms of the particular site that it's coming from. So I just want to look down here at my list. Okay, and you can see that I've got a study for a patient called Don Smith that is currently available, and it's on the Compumedics site once again with the sleep service type. So what I'll do is open up this study. The study will load. The scoring typically will then go in using Profusion PSG through the web browser, score this study. Once the study's been scored, they'll go up into the right-hand side and select close, transition this study into this scored state and select OK. That will now shut down that particular study, and if I log off and then log on as Peter Parslow, this particular user has a dashboard set up, and there is another tutorial on how to configure your dashboards, but there's a to-do list here, and you can see that there's a number of studies that have already been activated by this particular workflow notification, and so Peter's being advised here that a study has been scored and is ready to be reported. Now Peter could then go into the Manage menu to the To-Do Items task, and if we have a look here, this is the most recent one for Don Smith, where it's set as a high priority, saying that this study has been scored and ready to report. Okay, so now Peter can go about his daily workflow, have these sorts of notifications built into the system to make sure that that workflow is as efficient as possible. Once again, this can be set up in terms of email notifications, to-do list notifications, which we've shown here. It could also be related to rules in terms of deleting video, for example, when archiving a study. All these sorts of things are possible, but you'll need to talk to your system administrator in Compumedics to enable these sorts of functions. Thank you for watching this tutorial.